So thank you everyone to join this session. So before I start, just some reminders that next year it's going to be a very big conference for everyone. So I hope you will go there and we could meet. And of course, a big thank you to every organizer, every producer, and of course every sponsor who made this event possible. There is a raffle, so good luck, and if you are lucky, you will maybe be able to play with SharePoint Space and this cute Oculus. And last but not least, the sponsor and the event is helping the community relief, so don't hesitate to support them also. So just a little bit about myself. So my name is Hadrien Socard, and I live in Paris, in France. And I work at Hub Collab as a technical leader on Teams and Power Platform. So my main occupation is to build some solution and to solve problems, to help organization to leverage the low-code capability of Office 365. So I play a lot with Teams, of course, SharePoint, obviously, and daily with the Power Platform and focusing on PowerApps and Power Automate. So about the agenda for the session of today, I will explain you why do we need governance? Why do we need governance for Teams and more for collaboration workspace? How do we enable this? I will present you my point of view. It's not the perfect point of view, but it's mine, and it works in some organization. And finally, I will present you a demo of the solution completely working. So I think that everyone is aware, but we have to look back and look at Teams, and recently Teams continue to increase a lot of daily users. So it leads us to think about the needs for governance for organization, because Teams is used every day by more and more and more users. So Teams, what is it? Teams is the hub, but too often in organization I meet that Teams is only seen as a chat and meeting solution. But Teams can be so much more. With Teams, we can leverage the complexity of enabling a modern workplace. We can help inclusion. We can help to share knowledge, to create community, to integrate some business solution inside one app, reducing the time lost about changing context between applications. So Teams is not just a chat and a meeting application. It's so much more, and it has to be seen like that. And of course, it's protected by the Office and Microsoft 365 security and compliance feature. So first, I explain you that Teams is a hub, but Teams is also a gateway. Teams is a gateway because it helps to connect to outside information, outside services, outside workloads, but also to inside, and in some case, if we want, to some on-premises workloads. So as a hub from an end user, it can be a gateway from an architecture perspective. So before we talk about Teams, we need to talk a little. This is the only slide technical about groups Office 365. And by the way, we have to call them Microsoft 365 groups right now. So what happened on the back end when we create a team, create a SharePoint site modern, when we create an Office 365 Outlook groups? So in the back end, a request to create an Office 365 groups inside Azure Active Directory is requested. And these groups, when it's provisioned, the workload in top of it is put to the users to be consumed. So when I create a team, a group Office 365 is created for me. When I create a planner, a group Office 365 is created for me. From an end user perspective, it's completely hidden, but from an admin perspective, it's where the governance is needed. So this is a presentation based on the big Office 365 groups etiquette from Matt White, and it shows us very clearly with color that there is difference between a group created from a Teams or a group created from an Outlook perspective, so and another from a Yammer perspective. As we can see, when we create a team, we don't have the capability by default to leverage the shared mailbox and shared calendar, but they exist, but they are just not activated for the user. But when we create a group in Outlook, we do not have a Teams activated. So it can lead some confusion for users, and it can be disruptful for adoption. So it's very important to have this in mind. What is the beauty about groups, about Microsoft 365 groups? It's free for all. It's activated by default, so everyone can create a group. It looks like magic, but it has a very important side effect. The side effect is by default is activated. That means everyone can create groups, can create teams, and it can lead to a very chaos if this is not controlled by IT and also by business manager. So let's go deep dive into Microsoft Teams governance. First of all, we need to look at what are the main needs about governance. When we talk about governance, we need to prevent the chaos. We need to prevent the out of control growth of Microsoft Teams and of Groups 365. We need to have a healthy foundation, meaning we need to have respect the naming convention, have a correct SharePoint URL formatted, and also help the user experience, because they are the people who are going to use the product. So we need to be sure it's easy to understand, it's easy to take, and it's not going to lead them to frustration, who can also lead to shadow IT. And one of the main key of the governance is the templates. We need to create templates based on business case, on organization needs, based on department needs. We need to build them because it's gonna give us a big impact on the time we're gonna save when we use template instead of creating everything manually. About automatization, we want automatization for everything. Everything needs to be automated, and even the reporting, and I will show you this later. And of course, we want to improve the reporting. We want to add some custom KPI, custom metadata we want to track, and we want to help the adoption to have some insight about what is going on the tenant, on the environment, and how the user are using the products. So this slide shows you every feature available out of the box from Microsoft. But when we think about governance, my point of view is we have to lead the IT and the user on the same page. On the same page about thinking that Microsoft Teams is the key for everything. It's the key for everything from a user perspective. The user will find his file, his document, his application, his colleague. And from an admin, it's the key because if the user is consuming Teams to create groups, we can leverage the governance. If a user wants a planner, you create a team. You want a Power BI workspace, you create a team. You want a SharePoint site, you create a team. But how we're gonna say you create a team if the user asks for a shared mailbox? This is where templates is coming. So why do we need governance? We need governance to handle, as I said, naming convention, identity. We need to to set up and to configure some different notification to help the onboarding about the user experience. And of course, we have to set up the configuration, the membership. Maybe in some case we would want to have some permanent user or even permanent member or even an admin automatically added by teams. We want to target some templates. Maybe all the templates is not does not fit for everyone inside the organization. And of course, we would like to have a catalog of templates. It's not it's something very useful inside the organization. When we start, we often start with 1, 2, 3 templates, but with the time, the template evolves and the needs for other templates come also. And of course, we talk about creating, but we have to talk about life cycle, about archiving, about deleting, about expiration. So all this information is handled by the governance and is handled by all the settings we're gonna add to the templates. And at the end, reporting. Reporting is important because reporting helps us to understand how the template and how the solution is used by the user and what impact it has on the usage metrics of the environment. So this is a mind map I use often with organization I meet about Microsoft Teams governance. It's all the features the solution can address. And one of the main thing I explain to my customer and partner is that every branches on this slide need to be looked at, and we need to have an answer. Even if the answer is, okay, it's cool, the solution can do that, but I don't want to use it for my organization. It's not fit. Okay, but we need to have an answer for every branches of this slide, because we're gonna translate this answer into settings, and we're gonna put these settings into the solution to have the solution correctly working. A little bit before I'll talk to you about automation. Automation is very important. We do not want a solution who will just send an email to the IT and the IT will manually create the teams. It's not like that. We want an automation, an end-to-end automation. We want to automate the creation, the configuration, the lifecycle, and of course the reporting, because we can also automate the reporting, completely collecting data inside SharePoint and configure Power BI to consume this data and to enable the capability to create custom dashboard and custom reports. So the governance I present you is in 3 main milestones. The first is to configure the control. The second is the modelization. And the third is the analyze and the evolution of the solution. So first, about control. We have 2 options, but a little bit about 2, we have 3 options. The third is obviously the one everyone knows. It's the self-service out of the box. When you create a tenant, by default, open for everyone. And the 2 options I present for governance is this one, the self-service, but a controlled one, and the approbation. They both have different impact on the user experience, on the adoption, and on the governance. For example, if you take the self-service, the controlled one, the user experience, the impact is weak because it's like the default. The user has a form, he uses the forms, and the Teams is automatically created for him. No need to worry about anything. But on the governance impact, it's important because we have to enable all the settings, all the configuration we want. And if we have approbation, the user experience impact is very big because it's frustrating to have to wait or to have to ask to just have a workspace. So we have to think about the impact. Of course, we're going to talk about the modeling. The modeling is the biggest part of this session. We will add, by default, we can add every Office 365 workload inside the template, but we can also extend the template with third-party app with custom integration. And the main feature is we can add some security, some configuration, very advanced one, like configure some teams to some template of teams to be automatically non-discoverable, to control selective guest access by team and also by domain. I often meet a big company who do not want inside their environment to have some opposite company invited. So it's understandable from their perspective. And of course, we can add some custom policy, custom configuration based on the organization needs. One other big feature about the modeling is the use of the modern workplace and the use of the modern SharePoint. We can leverage the modern SharePoint site with our teams. When we use Teams, we have a SharePoint site modern provision for us, and we can add some configuration using PNP or using SPFX if we want to customize the template and to have also a template of Teams, but a template of the SharePoint site in top of it. So the last part is the analyze and the evolution. So by default, we have access to different kind of reports. We have access to some report inside the admin center and also inside the Office 365 adoption pack, who is now changed by the Microsoft 365 usage analytics. But there are some limitations. And one of the biggest one is the history. We have only 180 days of the data. So if we want more, we have to collect them. And if you start collect them, start thinking about custom dashboard, because you have the data set, you have the data. You just need to give them some more information, more data, and it can you can now understand why I told you before that with the solution we can add some custom data, some custom metadata to help the reporting to have more insight. For example, we can ask a user who wants to create a workspace, we can ask him how often the workspace will be used, with how many external partners the workspace will be shared. And we can control if this information is the reality after all. So let's demo time now. I will stop to share my screen. And I will share you again my screen completely for the demo. Just tell me if you see my screen. Okay. Do you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So let's be an end user. From an end user perspective, I use Teams as I use Windows. Teams is my new OS. I don't open Outlook because everything is on Teams. Teams is my new Outlook. I woke up, I open Teams. So I can have an application, and on my application I can find everything. I can find my intranet, my corporate site. I can even talk to a bot to have some information about the new lead, etc. And I can also have a custom application who is based on PowerApps. PowerApps is a part of the Power Platform. And this is the application I have to use to create some workspace. So let's try to create a workspace. So first, I have to choose what type of workspace I want. What do I want? I want a workspace, a Teams workspace to collaborate, or maybe I want just a SharePoint site to have some communication, or public face, or just internal face communication. And maybe I just want the new Yammer, a new Yammer group to create a community. So let's create a team. I can select my language because I'm on a big and worldwide company. I can select my language. So let's keep it by default in this case. And here is the big choice of my life to select if I'm gonna use business template or if I'm gonna start from scratch. And because I want to see what the business and the champions of Office 365 adoption team have put to me, I just gonna look at the business template. So this is the gallery who show me my business templates. I can have a project or a service or community. So let's create a project. I have to define if it's a private or public. I prefer to select private by default. And I can also add some classification. Classification will help me to define the level of sensitivity for the data inside this workspace. So I will keep internal because it's going to be an internal project. So my demo for Microsoft 365 Virtual Marathon, I can add little heart, and I can add my RSM description here. I will go next, and I can have some owners. So as just before, as you can see, it's automatically generating the naming convention based on the template I select. Because I select a template of project, I have a Teams Golf project template. And it's protected from special character because obviously you know that inside an URL or inside an email address, you can have some special character. So if I try, I have a warning and I'm not able to create the theme. So I have to correct this. So I have to select some owner. So I will add myself, but I can also configure the solution to be added myself as an owner by default. And I have another warning because it's a best practice. The IT and the business manager set up the configuration to have at least 2 owners by teams. So I'm not able to create a team if I'm the only captain above. So let's add another one. And I can have also my members, and I could also have add another card to add some external guests directly on the screen. So I will add Megan, and that's it. I go next, and here I can choose the expiration type. Maybe I want this to be a perpetual theme without any expiration, or maybe I want to have some expiration because it's a project, a short-term project, like 3, 6 months, maybe 1 year maximum. I will have some expiration, and I could select some expiration available to me. So I can have the 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and even the legal holds to keep the data for legal purpose. So I will start to 6 months, and after 6 months I will have a renewal process, and I can set end to create my workspace. So this is it. From an end user perspective, I can take a coffee, come back later on my PC, but just 3 or 4 minutes maximum to have the workspace loaded. Because as I explain you with the slide, the idea is to have the same experience with this solution. So we have to provision it very, very, very fast. So in the meantime of the new provisioning of this new template, I will create another one to show you later the function, how approval works. So I have a new workspace. I create a Teams workspace. I can select my language. I want a template. and I will select this template because I know it's a template who will trigger the approval. It's the template for services, and often in organization we do not permit to have two HR departments, two HR team. We have one HR team, not two. So users are not able to create a team for HR, for services. So this template is need to be approved to be created. So I will add it. I will keep it private. It's confidential, and I will add M360 VM HR. I could change the internal naming convention if I want. I could have, for example, my HR. And this is the internal HR team. And myself as an owner, I have to add another one. And can I have some Lydia and Patty into the team. It's a perpetual team. Oh, the screen go there. So I keep the default for this. And I go next. And as you can see, in the meantime, I've got the first creation of the team previously requested. So I got a notification directly on Teams, so I don't have to go any other interface, open or whatever. I stay in Teams, I use the solution, my Teams is created, my notifications are coming on Teams. So if I go on my Teams list, I can see the Teams is created. Oh, that's fine. The display name is correctly created. And I also have automatically my new channel provisioned. And you will see soon that some tabs will appear, because with the template, I told you that we can leverage and add every kind of Office 365 workloads. So I add them I add all of them because, of course, it's a demo. And as you can see, I removed the wiki tab because I prefer to promote the use of OneNote, who is much better. And I do not want users to see the wiki tab by default. I want to clean it. And thanks to Laura Kokaranen, if you want to learn about how you can leverage this kind of pattern. So as you can see, the planner, the first tab happened, and the other one will happen shortly with a message who will happen. As you can see, OneNote website. So if I go into my planner, I see my planner is automatically provisioned. So we can imagine when we are creating a Teams for a project, I could have my planner. I could also have my template of planner, my template of OneNote. I could have my bucket and my task automatically created based on the template. So it can save many time, because often when we created a new project, what do? We select our Excel file, we recreate every task for everyone, and we rename the Excel. Every kind of this manual and non-productive task could be automated, and the project manager could focus on his work, the project, and not creating task to be able to start the project. So I have the OneNote, same thing. I could template it. I could have a template for OneNote to have section, etc. I have a website, so it could be a website for the project. It could be a website for resources. This is a website showing you the Modern Workplace Conference in Paris, organized by iOS community. And I can also have some different file, like the PDF file and other files. And before, I think I've got some throttling because of the demo. There is some delay provisioning the tabs, and you have to understand this is a demo environment, so it's not the best environment to have some power inside the Power Platform. But I can show you a fully created because I have yesterday I've also showed this demo in French. As you can see, we provisioned the teams. Every tab was set up, like the PowerPoint one, the Excel, and even one thing who is not possible, maybe I'm wrong, but it's not possible by default, the capabilities to add an external SharePoint document library, external from the teams, directly inside the teams, for example, as a file repository for a project. So here I can find the repository. This is not the repository for these teams. This is another one. And as you can see also, there is an adaptive card who can, it's in French, but it's explained like starting to use your Microsoft Teams, welcome on your Microsoft Teams. This is the best practice for Teams. This is the best practice for meeting, for activity. You can find from formation, from help, and also the owner responsibility. And I can also redirect with a deep link the user directly inside the help of Teams, directly from the Teams. For example, I go there, it go there. I could also have my my formation, my link for formation could also lead directly inside my help center, inside my application. Why do I need a browser? I have Teams. It works for everything, as you can see. So if we go again on the Teams, no, never mind. You see that everything is working here. And if I go inside approval, I don't leave Teams. I don't want to leave Teams. So I'm going to use Flow inside Teams. I have Flow application. I have approvals. I can look at my approvals. I've received a new request. So it's asking in French, new request for Teams, Teams from Hadrien Socard. And hello, this guy asked for a team this day. If you say yes, the teams will be created. There is all the information, what you can do. You can approve, you can reject, and you can even reassign. So in this case, we're going to approve. Yes, you are good to go. So I confirm the creation. And that's it. So I don't have to switch on another system, another interface, another website to validate this. Everything is there. And if I want more, I also have Outlook. And because I don't want to leave Teams, I add an application to have my Outlook email directly on Teams. And I can find, if I prefer Outlook, I can find my notification directly on my mailbox. So if I go there, okay, there is some latency about creation. So, oh, the team is there. So it's the good one. If you will see that this is the naming convention applied on the teams, and this will be changed by the display name we set up when we created the teams. So here I have my channel automatically created and automatically shown or hidden based on the configuration of the template. And that's almost all of it. So I will switch back to the slide to show you the rest of the deck. You see my screen correctly? Is it okay? I will take this as a yes, and I will continue the slide. So also, you have to know that the solution is working on, you can leverage Power Platform to create this solution, and it's working also on the go. You can use it on your iPad, on your smartphone, and as I showed you, you can use it on the Teams interface only if you want, but you can also extend it to have external, to have some Outlook notification if you prefer. So one of the main things, if you want to go to this solution, is to understand the architecture of graph. And I will show you after the big picture of the solution to understand more clearly the technical aspect. And because I decided to make a session more focused on functional instead of technical, I will present in the coming weeks and months some technical session about the solution, where you will be able to learn more deeply on how it's going to work and how it's working with the template, with graph connection, etc. So the big picture of the solution is in four pillars. The first one is the user and manager admin interface. It's the user experience. We want it simple. We want to keep it simple. Keep it simple, make it powerful. It's the basics. So we use Teams, and we use the couple of Teams and PowerApps to have the user staying inside Teams. From the backend perspective, all the data, all the information, the template configuration, the settings configuration, the workflow configuration, all the settings is inside SharePoint list and a SharePoint site. The automation, the approval, the provisioning is handled by PowerAutomate. And the processing, who is really creating the teams and the artifact for our solution, it's Graph. So it's quite simple when we see these four big pillars of the solution. And one other great thing about the solution is that you do not need any PowerApps license, because by default with Office 365 you have access to PowerApps license if you have at least an Office 365 business and to E5. And to be able to leverage this solution, you need just one license of PowerAutomate Premium 1 or per user plan, just one for the entire solution for your entire organization. No, the user do not need to have any license for this. Even, of course, they need an Office 365 license, obviously. So what's the impact of the solution? The impact of the solution is clearly, it gives you a flexible governance engine who can leverage workspace at scale, as we saw just before. It helps organization to promote the DNA of the organization itself. What are the value we want to share with this kind of solution? We can share some messages. We can help the people understand with this solution. We can help sharing knowledge, etc. It helps IT department, IT manager, and also internal communication department to have a better communication with the user. They have a very dedicated private channel they can use to communicate with the team, with the stakeholders, with the champions. So, and the cool thing is they're gonna use the tool the user used to communicate. Too often we see communication going through emails. That's emails. And one last thing is using this solution, it's helping the organization and the IT department to have a huge adoption of the Power Platform. So this is it for today. A big thank you about everyone who joined the solution, or everyone who will watch it on demand. And I hope you learn a lot of things, and I'm able to answer some questions if there is some.
I will check for you if there's any questions in the Q&A.
Sure.
No, so wait, 2 new. Let me double check. Just the feedback. I have never seen this before, so that's positive. Somebody is learning new things. And well, good session. So you got positive session feedback. So I invite everybody, since there's some time left, to ask questions if you have any. You can submit questions using the Q&A button on the right, and that allows us to answer your questions. Any last comments you want to make while we wait for incoming questions? If not, we will wait if it will come in. Well, let me thank you for your session. Very interesting stuff. I really like this.
So thank you, you too, to be a good producer. You helped me to. It's my first session in English, so I hope everything understand me, and thank you to you.
Yeah, we got questions coming in. Of course, we always have to take aware of the 35 seconds delay. Yes. So I already got 2 questions for you.
Yes.
The first one being, does the template come from Power Automate Premium out of the box, or use a third-party tool?
No. Do we? How many time do we have still? I think
we still have around 9 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So I will show you. It's more. It's going to be more easier to understand. The template is based on SharePoint. So every aspect of the template is added to SharePoint lists, like this one is added to SharePoint lists to have every information you need. So with this, you can set up your template, and you can when your workflow will be triggered, you will be able to read this template and to provision the template. So no need of PowerApps premium license and no third-party connector on this solution. The main vision of I had when I started to work on this solution 2 years ago is I wanted a solution 100% based on Office 365, no external data, no external third-party apps. I wanted to meet organization and to explain them, you have the tools for your own needs. You don't need to buy a third-party solution or whatever. Microsoft is providing you all the stuff you need. So I hope this is the answer for the question.
That's a very clear answer. Thank you for giving that. So people saying, well, thank you, good session. Thanks, very nice session. We're working on this as well, and good sharing of options.
Yes, and I see many people and many other organizations who are working on this, and I recommend you to look at Jace Morano from Microsoft, Customer Success Manager from USA, who is leading a weekly meeting about thing on Teams governance. And recently they present a session about a big customer who has enabled this kind of solution. So it's very, very good to see other people who are going to use this kind of solution.
Good. So I have two last questions. The process to create a team from chosen templates, this is not available through Office 365, correct? This is just some add-in or not?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
So the process to create a team through the chosen templates. The question is if that's standard Office 365, or I think you already answered that question.
Okay. So currently, To create a team, you have to use Graph. So I use PowerAutomate to send a request to Graph to create the team for me. Currently, Graph API has two versions, the V1 and the version in beta. The version in beta is not for production because Microsoft said the beta is under preview and there is no support for beta. So I don't recommend you to go in beta. And if you create in version 1, you have to first create groups, and after you enable teams for these groups. So everything is on the different endpoint I used on the solution. As I said, I will present other session in the coming weeks about the technical deep dive for this solution. So don't hesitate to follow me on Twitter, for example, or LinkedIn, and you will be notified when I will present this kind of session. But you have to remember the slide I showed you on the architecture. This one explain, answer your question. To create a team, you have to create a group. As you can see, group is the center. It's the center for everything. You want a team. Team is under. Is not under. Is top of group. Group is under. So to create a team, you have to own a groups.
Mm-hmm.
So
clear.
This is the thing very important to remember. And this slide is not my work. It came from a Microsoft guy who presented from Microsoft Build. So I have the source and the session. If you type this on your browser, you will find the session who will explain this slide more deeply if you want to have more insight on this architecture.
Okay, clear. Well, thank you. Oh, there's one more question. Is this solution publicly available?
Oh, so good question. First, from the Microsoft perspective, Microsoft released recently an app where you can who do almost the same thing than my solution. The app they show is more to customer to see the capabilities of Power Platform and to customize it if you want. It's not easy to take to start with this app. I prefer to start from scratch, but it's a good start if you want to learn. Second thing, Microsoft recently released the templates coming on Teams. That's good. You will ask me, so why do we need a solution like yours if Microsoft is doing the template job? But remember, today we are governing teams creation, teams. Tomorrow we will govern template teams. By default, Microsoft is too much kind. They give us too much gifts, and the user got too much gift from Microsoft. By default, it will be open. So by default, users will be able to create templates. So it's very good. It's a very good opportunity to users to understand the template stuff, to admin to use templates. It will help organization to leverage the use of teams, but it will also increase the needs of governance. Because if you leave it by default, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 year, you will come back and tell me, hey, Hadrien, you're right. We have almost 1,000 templates now, and it's a mess. Mm-hmm. Yes, because you don't set up a governance before the start.
Yeah,
and
good point.
About your question, this solution is a demo, and we have with my company a core model. We propose to our customer and our partner to use or to sell or whatever, and you can also extend this core model. So it's a public one. It's our own solution is different from this one. This one is a demo. It's my own. I created myself, but we have almost a copy of this one, but with more feature and more capabilities than the one I showed you today.
Okay. Well, that's clear. We just run out of time, but we also run out of questions. So I think from a timing perspective, we're doing great. Since we're done and nobody else can send their positive feedback from the audience, I'm here to say, well, thank you for your session. Great job. Good stuff. And
thank you,
yeah.
too. Have a good day, everyone. I hope we're going to meet soon at Las Vegas for next year big conference. Don't forget.
That would be great.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.